So finally, I'll be talking about the Crimson Saga of King of Fighter. Technically, this one takes place starting King of Fighters 2003 all the way to King of Fighters 13. Wait, what's going on there? Alright, so before I talk about my retrospective of the Crimson Saga arc and my thoughts about the whole storyline and the gameplay, basically what happened was, remember, King Fighter used to be a yearly thing because not really much development. They're just reusing some of the sprite. I mean, from 95 to 96, they had to change the sprite, made an improvement. But 96 all the way to 2003, they were just using, they were using the Neo Geo build or AVGS build. So that's basically what happened. That's what it was easy to do. And like the console version or the Neo Geo version of King of Fighter 2003 was a MvS. The home version, basically, believe it or not, from what I heard, the rumor was, it was Astonish Wave, which is basically what's used in Neo Wave and some other SNK game. Excuse me. So that's the deal. And they say they want to improve the system. So from 2003, instead of doing a yearly thing, they said, fine, we're gonna have to change it by number. So by the next one, it became King Fighter 11. It was the first King Fighter with a number rather than a year. And I think between 2003 and King Fighter 11, it sort of took a long time. That's why Maximum Impact 2 became King of Fighter 2006. Because again, they're trying to market it. They're trying to say, hey, the Maximum Impact is part of the King of Fighter series, which is sort of, but again, it's a spin-off. Title aside, the game's still okay. I just don't like it when you have name change for marketing's sake because it doesn't always work. So it was the same deal with this one. But anyway, back to King of Fighter 2003 through 11. That's the reason why the number, starting with 11, then 12, then 13. And each of those games took a long time after the next one. Because even SNK themselves said, SNK Playmore admitted, they said doing this annually was becoming difficult, especially when you're using a new game engine, such as Astonishing Wave, starting with King of Fighter 11 in the arcade, but in the home version was actually 2003. So with that, let's start the Crimson Saga storyline. So 2003, basically another storyline, and you keep me hearing saying Crimson Saga, Crimson this, Crimson that. What is the Crimson? What's that word Crimson mean? Well, basically, just like in the NES Saga, 2003 introduced another new main character by the name of Ash Crimson from France. So what's his deal? What is his premise this time? Well, if you beat the game, you'll sort of understand what's going on. But somehow, like I said, he basically is a guy that appeared out of nowhere, and he's sort of a anti-hero. He has his own agenda, and the story is that he was trying to look for the sacred treasure to basically help who he works for, basically warriors of the past, or fighters who seek in the past. And I'll explain that later on who they are. So the new main characters, Ash. I played the guy. The character's pretty good. He's basically Guile, but again, I don't know why, but yeah, he has his own moveset. So basically, he's the new main character. And this time, he teams up with two new original characters by the name of Shenwu, which is a Chinese underground boxer. He's basically a Chinese gangster, but his skill of street boxing. Not like Vanessa, which is professional boxing. Shenwu is more like street boxing. That's why it's a different move. You cannot see it. And the other partner was Duo Lon. If it sort of sound familiar, yes, I did mention it before in the Maximum Impact series that Duo Lon is the older brother of Xiaolon. He also is part of the clan that was Lin part of, who basically betrayed the clan His storyline, personal storyline, is that he teamed up with Ash to find information about who betrayed the clan. He's looking for Ron. So yes, both of them are Chinese, and Ash basically friends. Doesn't really matter what, but it's an interesting team. I think it's one of the best teams. So Ash Crimson, Duolong, Shen Wu. So one of the interesting about 2003 is a lot of new changes again for teams. First of all, is Kyo and Yor going to be single just like in 99 and 2000, like that? Not so much, and I'll explain it later. First of all, is there a Japan team? Sort of. This time it's Benimaru, and guess who's back? Goro Daimon. So he's back again because for popular demand. He got booed in 99 and 2000 because people said he wasn't that popular, but people said, you know what, he is that popular, fine, we'll bring him back. So 2000 he's returned, and Shingo once again now again in the team rather than a single entry like in 97. And of course the NautoAisDx Saga, he's been in a team. Finally he's in a team. That's a story because there's one of his stories that he wants to be in the team. That's his dream. So there you go. And then of course Kim's team or the Korean team had a little bit of changes, and that is that it's Kim Kwan, Chang, and Hoon. So for strange reason they kicked out Choi, which I don't understand, but I guess the replacement is Choi was in SNK versus Capcom Chaos. So there you go, kind of like balanced out for our girls. I think that's the reason. And the Ikari Warriors, again, the normal Ikari Warriors, Leona, Ralph Clark, and of course K's team based on Game Final 2002 is K, Maxima, and Whip. So why not? There you go. So now there are teams of 3. Let's see. Oh, and here's another interesting. There is no Psycho Soldier team for the first time. So Kenso, for a strange reason, got a boot along with Chen. Chen is not even in the game. Shingense, the old drinking guy. So, but basically what they did here is that Athena team up with Hinako, which is the Supergirl from 2000, and another new character by the name of Malin, and they formed themselves as the Pretty Girl team. Yes, this is the original Pretty Girl team. And then when King of Fighters 2000 Unlimited match, basically a revised version of 2002, they sort of continued that introduction of the Pretty Girl team, but this time based on the NES characters who are in the NES Saga. But this is where it started. Athena Sumiya, Hinako, and Malin is a new character. So there you go. Because you might say, well, what happened to Melee or Angel? Well, remember, at this point on, Playmore bought SNK, so SNK once again it's SNK Playmore at this point on. And again, there was a rumor in the past was that Elliot wouldn't allow to let them use the character, especially Melee or Angel. So no dice, of course, no King 49, especially. Excuse me. So there you go. And another interesting about this saga, this time, is they finally started to introduce Mark of the Wolf character. So what is that? If you didn't know, and I guess I didn't do a showcase this one, I'll probably do it teaser on the main channel, is there's sort of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, let's just say a next generation of Fatal Fury called Fatal Fury Mark of the Wolf, which is basically supposed to take place long past the Fatal Fury series. Some characters, well, one character is older, which is Terry. Shorter hair, he had a different getup, no more red cap, no more long hair. And Rock is the main character, the son of Geese Howard, so that's the story. So finally they're starting to introduce Mark of the Wolf character. I mean, you've seen some of them in 2001, but as a kid. But this is finally Terry with his Mark of the Wolf getup. He teams up with Joe Higashi and T-Zok, or Griffin, basically a character from Mark of the Wolf. Because this game actually has, and they've been rumor about it when they were doing 2003 that there will be Mark of the Wolf character. They finally did. One of them is Griffin or T-Zok, a Mexican luchador. And another team is, believe it or not, is the return of the Yamakasi team. or basically call it Geese Team, which, if you don't know what it is, it's a modified version of the 97 Special Team. Ryujin Yamakaze is back, and with Billy Kane, but this time instead of with Blue Mary, another character from Mark of the Wolf by the name of Gato, supposed to be an underground Chinese fighter that supposedly his skill is to, well, his skill is to kill people. So there you go. He fights to kill. That's his story. So that's what Gato is. So again, another new team. I'm trying to remember some other team there. Art of Fighting is still there. Rio, Robert, and Yuri. Yeah, no more Takuma once again. Robert with a new getup. Let's see who else. Then maybe there's some. I gotta look it up, unfortunately, but yeah, but there are some. But the point is, it's back into 8 team. So, but again, you're gonna say, well, what about Kyo and Yori? Are they in a team? Yes, actually, they are in a team with each other. Why is it? So another character that returned since '97, or you can say '98, is Chizuru Kaguya. So if you unlock her, Chizuru, she's a hidden character to some extent, is Kyo, Yori, and Chizuru actually forms a team called the Sacred Treasure Team. Because each 3 of them actually have a sacred treasure. I think, if I remember, Kyo has the hero sword. Yori has the... what do you call those Chinese seed thing that looks like a shape number 9? The Yaga... I don't know what it is. I do apologize. But it is basically that particular treasure that Iori has. It gives the power of Orochi. He has a cursed power, but he needed power, so, start about when you want to be a fighter. And then Chizuru with the Yata Mirror, which is, remember I talked about Kusanagi, which is a magical clone. In this game also, there is a mid-boss, which is Kusanagi. That's actually its official storyline debut. And again, 2003, he's supposed to be just a plain illusion that supposedly Chizuru created him, but then, spoiler here, that actually there was a shocker. There is another hidden character because Chizuru is her twin dead sister, believe it or not. Twin. So, another character you get to play as is Maki Kagura, which is sort of a modified Chizuru, and she's the one that created Kusanagi to basically see the fighter to test their skill. That's why Kusanagi just he lives to fight. So the sub-boss basically is Maki Kaguya. Like in '96 was Chizuru, Maki 2003. But here's the interesting about 2003. There's actually 2 final bosses in the game. Because for the first time, there's a good ending and a bad ending. So it depends how you beat Kusanagi. And spoiler tip here is, if you defeat him with a desperation move, you go to the good ending rather than the bad ending. So what is the difference? Well, first, if you beat Kusanagi without doing a super move or a desperation move, you go to the bad ending and you fight basically another new character by the name of Adol here, or in short, Adol, and he's basically the son of Rugal Bernstein. Yes, the ultimate main boss character for your fighter. He has a son and daughter. You don't play as a daughter. The daughter's just there like a supporting character, but it's Adolhid. It's basically a junior version of Rugal with moveset. And if you beat it with a bad ending, I think there's like a generic ending. So if you get the good ending, is by again doing a desperate move or super move to Kusanagi. You fight one of the guys who, well, first the sub boss is going to be Maki. But I think either way it's going to be always going to be Maki, either good or bad. But the boss is much harder, but then they have a Mukai. He's basically a servant of the warriors of the past. I'll explain who the leader is in the very end of the saga. So, and if you beat it, then you get an ending. So basically this one, another interesting about this one is that, remember how the last saga was basically about strikers, aka assists like in Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel Super vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This is the reverse to this one. Rather than It came out in 2003 and 11, and I'll explain what happened, why not the other games, is that the introduction of Switch Team, Switch Fight, or whatever. Basically, you're able to switch characters like in Marvel vs. Capcom game, like in a tag game. So that's for the first time. So there's no round one, round two. The object of the game is gotta beat your opponent to zero their life gauge, and you win the match. The same thing with this one. That's the other new strategies, sort of, because the same goes with Marvel vs. Capcom, where they're basically not fighting, their health to regenerate. There you go. So like it is an interesting game. Some new characters, storyline very interesting. A little bit of difference. Like I said, finally Kyo and Yori in a team together. Interesting. And like I said, in the bosses, yeah, they're kind of hard because they're SNK. So so there you go. But yeah, so did they make any improvements on the sequel? Yeah, the story here is that after 2003, people thought, is it? Is it King Fighters done? Is this over? Because I noticed that they were waiting for 2, 3, 4 years. Like, it took a long time. Like, what's going on? Well, it took a bit of long time because, again, they had to take a break and they had to go back to the drawing board because they had to use a new game engine, the Astonishing Wave, for King of Fighter 11.